Good morning, ma'am.
There everybody shared.
The bottle पानी भर के हूँ मैं
मैंने उसको दिया।
अच्छा दिया
I am not focused on what it is. Focus. Concentrate. The recording. I'm both competition. Just
Don't make the existing ones insecure. Don't make the existing ones insecure. The existing ones.
Good afternoon. Expecting a few more people to join us, but we thought we'll start in time. So, respected Swami Chidananda, Dr. Shukla Joshi ma'am, all the students of the part 2, which is the batch 1, and all the incoming students of batch 2, which will be in part 1. And along with Swamiji, we have some more dignitaries, Sudhirji, Jollyji, Arunji, and a few more people. Welcome to the Mumbai University. It's been quite an interesting journey for each one of you to understand leadership. For those people who are already 1 year senior now, you must be looking at various facets of leadership which you are learning now academically. And for the part 1 students who will be now part of the regular course, will also be learning what leadership is all about. But before we go into that, it is a program that is something that can be close to self-discovery. I remember one of the interviews that I took to one of the students, he asked me, sir, I am a leader, but I don't feel like a leader. And the other person I remember, she said, I am not a leader, but I feel like a leader. So one is in a position of leadership, but doesn't feel. It's almost like his boss pushed him up and you take care of responsibility. I don't feel that I'm a leader. The other person feels that, I'm better than my leader because I understand leadership better than what he or she does. But at the end of it, whether you understand leadership or no, today the whole environment talks about leadership. And maybe almost 50 years ago, the whole discussion was management. And I know quite a few students here already completed the MBA, and the choice was what to do next. So in this particular program that we are having in Mumbai University, we are actually looking at leadership as an academic research. Imagine 2 years studying on one subject called leadership. But as you know chemistry, then you go into organic chemistry and various other parts of it. So from the first batch to the second batch, from the second year to the first year. Sorry. It's been an interesting journey for each one of us. So I would like to introduce both our dignitaries on the dais. But before that, a small story. I remember myself being in Chennai Mission in childhood, and I had no background about management. I did my management, but never thought that Indian management and Indian scriptures could be connected. And that is a time when Swami Chidananda, who is here as our guest speaker, was running a few lectures in Mulund, where I stayed, on Indian approach to management. And I was quite surprised that he was quoting on Ramayana, Mahabharata, and that was my first understanding about how rich our Indian ancient culture is. So we have Swamiji who was evolved from that few lectures to visiting faculties in some of the most prestigious institutions in India and abroad, right from the IITs to Stanford. He himself is from IIT Chennai. He did his MPhil over there. That time at IIT Madras, and been from the corporate world at leadership positions himself, but then became a monk, and he was with Chinmaya Mission, and he headed the Chinmaya Mission Vedanta course, if you know about Chinmaya Mission. So he was there, and for me, I'm so sorry. So for me specifically, he was the head of the research institution at Chinmaya International Foundation, which now has become Chinmaya University. Sorry, that will keep coming. Where I studied my Artha Shastra. I mean, my Gurukul also happens from there. So Swami Chidananda, thank you so much, sir. Swami Chidananda said, don't introduce me too much, but he works with the corporate world at senior management levels and does guide. In fact, one of his biodatas, I'm going to pass on the detailed biodata to all of you. But one of the interesting first liners I liked is that he was a part of a team which decided the leadership design for the Tata Group. So, Swamiji, just to tell you, we have been having some lectures on the Tata leadership model. Okay, yeah. So some of the influences definitely have come here indirectly. So coming back, Swamiji will be speaking today specifically on ethics and transformation in leadership, and that's going to be his lecture. But before that, I'd like to introduce our very own Dr. Shubhra Joshi ma'am. But a quick line for the newcomers. I know. Everybody knows her. And there's another way, if you don't know her, then you don't know Mumbai University. In fact, a quick background, not going into too much details. She is currently the director of the Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, where all of your students, and the first postgraduate program in leadership science has been designed. Not only just the director, but she's also the chairperson of the board of studies, which designs the whole program. So all that we have studied, or are going to study, is her creation. So academically, she's one of the most well-respected academician, a philosopher, a great administrator. And if you remember, I sent you some snaps. Recently, there was this great celebration that happened in the philosophy department, where she had spent 30 years in her academic career building up the department. So for us, she's an academic leader, a very knowledgeable leader, and for us, the best part is that she's always with us. Vriddha Sanyog, as Chanakya says, the wise people always be with us. So I would now start this whole lecture by requesting Shubhra ma'am to give an overview of what we are doing and her welcome address.
Thank you, Radha. Marketing to koi Radha se suni. Thank you for the kind words, Adharaniya Swamiji, and all the dignitaries who are associating Swamiji. My dear students, part 2 and those who will be joining part 1. A warm welcome to you all. Today we are very fortunate to have Swamiji in our midst, and he will be speaking on the ethical and spiritual dimension of leadership and transformation of leadership. And our part 2 students have a special paper on transformation leadership, and we are taking it, all the students and the teachers, we are taking it seriously, and we may introduce some practical components also, like meditative practices in India. So, blessings are very, very important when efforts become successful. Fructification of efforts depends on so many conditions. Bhagavad Gita says that there are 5 major important conditions. The capability of the knower, the efforts put by the knower, adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidham vividhascha prathak cheshta tatra devatra vacha. I take the word daiva as the blessings of the learned people in the midst of us. They are really caring, they concern for the well-being of their people, even though they are detached. With all compassion, they are also attached to the people, and all people are for them like their kiths and kins, and all their spiritual practices which create positive energies in the society benefits. Dear students, we are fortunate to have Swamiji in the midst of us to bless us. This is because we are trying to create a new course with a new approach. And the efforts which we are doing, the success of these efforts will depend on you people as the students. Some part on us as the teachers and giving the input, academic input. On the university administration is providing infrastructure, and also people, very wise people like you. Swamiji is both a learned and a wise person. And episteme, wisdom and beyond is the spirituality. We find everything in him. Such persons are rare. This course, the special feature of this course is that it tries to look beyond management. That is one part. And leadership is required in each and every aspect where we live. Right from marriage, family, all other social institutions, political institutions, and also financial institutions. It covers our entire life, and the beauty of it is that sometimes we are leaders and sometimes we are followers. But being follower also, we think like leader. Or rather, we should think like leader. At the same time, follow the role of a follower. Indian thinking, Asian thinking is slightly different from the Western thinking. Part 2 students have heard about it the whole of last year. But this is just for the newcomers. And also the esteemed guests who already have contributed to the field of knowledge by their own scholarship. I put it before you for consideration. Western world is highly individualistic. We are not. Western world is highly duty-centric. Right-centric. We are so duty-centric that the word duty-centric comes first in my mind. We are always duty-centric. I always have told you that till the formal British education was introduced to India, 19th century, we were absolutely unaware of the concept of rights. And we always were thinking that we can live happily doing our duties. The other person doing the duties, my rights will be taken care of. And me doing the duties, the rights of other persons will be taken care of. This is not the point, this is not the place to elaborate this whole thing. What I am trying to suggest is look at the two exactly opposite positions, philosophical opposite positions put forward. The Western world, individualistic, right-centric, hedonistic, utilitarian, pragmatic. Nothing wrong in holding a particular philosophy because all these they come in a package. Individualism, right-centricity, utilitarianism, hedonism in a package. Duty-centricity, living for others. We may say collectivism as against individualism. Deontological approach, that is non-hedonistic, non-utilitarian approach. And therefore, highest importance given to being a good human person. Highest importance given to all virtues and values and practice of virtues and values, though material prosperity was not rejected. It was always the approach of balance in the Indian ethos. Balance between the two extremes. I am sure Swamiji will tell us something more about it. But dear students, the whole Indian approach is not at all reflected anywhere in either management or in the leadership domain. Those who were studying humanities, language, literature, sociology, philosophy, and all other related subjects, they knew something about it. But they were completely ignorant about what is happening at the domain of science, at the domain of finance, accounts, and also the international political thing. Earlier, the holistic education which was given, now much more specialization in the field of education. People doing science, pure science, applied science, and those who are doing management and those who are going abroad. Much thought is given for management in the Western world, naturally because the first industrial revolution, 17th century, it happened in Western world. Along with the industrial revolution, then came the French Revolution, thinking about liberty, equality, fraternity, centered around justice. The ideas evolved, social change took place. And what we were doing during those times, remember, we were materially very, very affluent society. I'm not saying it proudly. I'm not saying it because I'm an Indian. The very fact that we were invaded number of times, centuries together, millenniums together, 7th century onwards, and the whole history, we are invaded by somebody or other. If we were poorest of the poor, I always say this, गरीब के घर कौन जाएगा? कुछ मिलने वाला नहीं. We were looted, plundered, the wealth was taken away. And all the time we were defending ourselves. But at the same time accommodating even the invaders within the fold of our own society. My point is that our struggle with the survival of the domain of knowledge which we had, that was strong. So, invasions of one or other. And then, we were constantly told that we are inferior. We Indians are inferior. The struggle itself, and you know, the whole legacy of 19th century British education and the mesmerizing effect of science and technology, which made life comfortable beyond our imagination. We thought that whole philosophy and the whole idea coming from the Western world is worth imitating. It would have been acceptance, we would have done it with much awareness. Acceptance is always a good thing because we accept it making some modifications, making some change, We are aware what we are accepting. Initial stages, it was with awareness. The political thinkers, the social thinkers of the 19th century, they were much aware that what India should take and what India should give to others. Swami Vivekananda, Justice Mahadev Govinda Ranade, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. After independence, I think we became so self-complacent. We thought that now we are independent, so we are free, and there was nothing wrong. We thought that we are free to be prosperous. And the whole idea of Abhyudaya, prosperity, the connotation of the idea kept on changing, and the Western influence. What I want to suggest you, yesterday you had a lecture of conflict resolve, conflict management, and I was discussing with Professor David. And I said, sir, may I give you a humble suggestion put forward? This is a country full of plurality. And we have been resolving conflict for 7 millennia. Experts like you, please give a thought. Please consider whether there can be some inputs from our side for conflict management or resolving the conflicts. They may not be standardized as of now, but why can't we think? My dear students, I always say that there are a lot of expectations from you. Expectation of originality from you. Contributing to the domain of knowledge of leadership in India with some peculiar features which are common to the people of this land. Now, I am not speaking it from any nationalist standpoint. It may appear to be very, very emotional, that as if I am making you some emotional appeal. It is not the case. Please understand. I am looking at it as a lacuna and a big vacuum in the academic approach to this particular subject, where we have much to contribute. But you know, I always say, Kautilya says, Arishadvarga Tyagin. And I always say that it's not just Kama Krodha, Nidra, Moha, Alasya, bewilderment. All these also are a stumbling block. क्या करना है सोच के? ऑक्सफोर्ड का मॉडल है ना रेडीमेड. My dear students, what we expect from you is not just a certificate that you will get because you are mature, experienced. You are already working in the domain of leadership. We are really interested in transformation. We are expecting a very, and I'm very happy, Swamiji, I am very happy to mention that we keep on getting such feedback of transformation from our students, which encourages us. But what we expect, and the students who are going to join us now, it will be a new path. And we all will have to walk on this new path together. I'm sure it will show some different directions. It will bring some better change. And those who are going to join part 1, of course you will experience it. This batch of part 2, when they joined, it was a blank slate. I always used to tell them that this is the advantageous situation also and the disadvantageous situation also. But to the part 1 I will say, you are fortunate in this way that you have the seniors to tell you, to help you. They have already created some knowledge domain. It's a recorded material, it's a print material, it's the discussion available, They have formed a very homogeneous group of them and they are working very hard. They are contributing irrespective of their highly preoccupational jobs, demanding jobs, whether as entrepreneur or whether as a CEO of a company managing more than 1,000 people, but they are doing it. So our expectations from the new batch also, that think differently, think openly, don't accept whatever we are saying from here, discuss, argue and put it logically, but don't follow the path which is easily available just because it is easily available. J. Krishnamurti always used to say, don't be second-hand people. What is very painful is to think differently, because it presupposes a lot of sacrifices. But my dear students, what we expect from you is that you think differently and then don't hesitate applying the different alternative models. As I always say, that look at it as an alternative therapy. Just as Ayurveda is alternative therapy, look at it as an alternative path to think differently. You know, for a teacher, the best reward is the reward given by the students of the teacher, saying that you ignited our minds. That is how APJ Abdul Kalam expressed the wish that I should continue to teach. A teacher gets an inspiration from the students. You know, when the battery is low, the charger lies in you people. So, I wish all of you best luck, a warm welcome to all those who desire to join the next batch, that is MA Part 1. I am sure that few people have not turned up. I don't know what is the reason. Expectations are, whenever the lectures are there, you should be there for the lectures, because the lectures are meant for you. Part 1. Part 2, know it very well. So, punctuality is very, very important. Regularity is very, very important. Doing self-study is very, very important. And thinking differently is also very, very important. With all this, now we will listen to Swamiji's guidance. Once again, welcome you, sir. Welcome you.
Rajesh.
Thank you, Shubha ma'am, for your wisdom. Swami Chidananda has been a globetrotter, talking about not just leadership but many philosophical aspects from the Indian wisdom. And currently, just to give his one-line introduction, he is founder of an organization called as Forward. So you can just do the search. We will give you all the links and a lot of materials available. He's been also an author, published various books. And I would like to wind up Swami's introduction, a long one, by saying he is also founder of an organization called as Money. You know, I remember the Gayatri Mantra, the word is quite popular there. And there are some founder members of the Money along with Swamiji. I've been so fortunate that I was one of them. Because for me, I was the youngest person being surrounded by the wisest people. So probably I enjoyed the best part of my life, and I not only learned Indian management but also organizing so many events in various places. So I would call this as an event of going back to the learning days, listening to Swamiji on our topic, which is ethics, transformation, and leadership. Swamiji, you can use the mic, Swamiji.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Am I audible behind? It's indeed a privilege and great pleasure for me to share some thoughts with all of you. This afternoon has begun, on ethics and transformation in the context of leadership. I really enjoyed the words said by Professor Chidananda. Especially I like in what you said, the clarification you made, that it's not about being patriotic or nationalistic, etc. It is an appeal to the deeper conscience in every one of us. Why should we just imitate? Why should we just be charmed by some model of the West? While it surely makes sense for us to learn from everywhere, nothing should make us sell away our brains. Nothing should make us forget what we have within ourselves, in our own heritage. In fact, when we ask the question, countries like USA or England, etc., who are looked up to by the whole world, have they solved the problems of the world? Have they really given justice to the world? They have succeeded in making their empire quite strong in certain ways. Not in all ways. They have their own problems. But materialistically and in certain sense of work ethics and so on, yes, anybody who sees them gets impressed. I'm reminded of an analogy given by a certain professor of English from India, but who taught in the last 10 years of his professorial career at UC Berkeley, University of California in Berkeley. He was a South Indian called Dr. Eknath Ishwar. He went there to teach English as a Fulbright scholar and did teach in Berkeley. But he himself went through a change. He later on ended up as a teacher of, in fact, finest works of all religions. He wrote on Dhammapada of Buddhism, Bible of Christianity, Gita and Upanishads of Hinduism, Sufi mysticism and so on. Ishvara. The analogy I am referring to, given by him, is at a certain place he laments. When we look at this world, increasingly we see that it is like a ship where 5% of the passengers are at one end of the ship, 95% are pushed to the other side. Now comes the punchline. 5% of the passengers on the ship who are huddled on one end are enjoying 95% of the resources. And the 95% of the people, passengers on that ship, are made to live on 5% of the resources. And today, on one hand we admire the West, on the other there is anger all over the world against that same West. Because this disparity is just overlooked. And to make one last reference to the failure of the West, self-interest is so prominent in these Western countries. I too visit USA almost every year. I too admire many things there. But I have never understood why United States, for example, gives arms to Pakistan also, India also. Gives very, very frightening war equipment to countries in the world which are fighting both sides and do a lot of drama. They go and negotiate, they try to bring peace. But finally, a friend of mine other day said, business is America's business. America's only business is business. In view of that, madam, I all the more appreciate some comments that you have made. India can play, we can play a very special role, not just projecting what is Indian as such, but we have for centuries a certain philosophical and spiritual heritage as expressed on one hand by statements like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, whole world is one family, and by, on the other hand, emphasis on certain cardinal values, universal values such as Satya, Ahimsa, and so on, which someone like Mahatma Gandhi had highlighted. So here I am in front of all of you, dear students, to share some thoughts on ethics and transformation in the context of leadership. I have some simple thoughts to present before you. Not much of information. My slides are few in number, and in each slide the bullets are also few in number. As my long time younger associate Dr. Pillai rightly said, we also have this new effort, some of us are involved in it. The effort is called Dhimahi, it's a wing of Hawaii Forum, which stands for deriving holistic insights into management from heritage of India. So Dhimahi, no doubt, is a word found in the Gayatri Mantra, as some of you instantly responded. But here it is not connected with Gayatri or any such thing. It's a pun on the word, you may say. We've taken the word, but from entire heritage of India, not only religious works, but even the old classics, we want to derive some insights. And this little session also is under that umbrella from our point of view. I am not going to define or describe leadership, kinds of leadership, etc. That's a vast field. Recently, a professor friend of mine from Banaras was explaining to me that there are two kinds of leadership: mammalian leadership and reptilian leadership. Mammalian leadership and reptilian leadership. The mammal nurtures the baby feeding from her own breast. The reptiles just make their way and are very concerned with their own safety. Based on that, there is a whole science. And there is this days talk of spiritual leadership. and there is service-oriented leadership. And Stephen Covey, an author from US, wrote about principle-centered leadership. Rather than going into kinds of leadership, I would like to quickly say that leadership is a necessary aspect of functioning in any organization, any area where a few people get together. Could be as simple as a small family or as big as a huge organization. Whether we like it or not, there is need for effective leadership. In fact, as the third bullet goes here, an organization reflects in fact its leader. Over a length of time, the leader's qualities, positive or negative, percolate into the functioning of the whole organization. So rather than talking about other dimensions, my focus today will be straight away on ethics in leading. Suppose a leader over a length of time is found to be lying, it definitely has a bad effect on the entire organization. Satya is truthfulness, and in Indian, probably worldwide, the domain of ethics, perhaps no other value is of greater importance than Satya, that is truthfulness. And in material, in our scriptures, our ancient works, a leader has been asked to primarily anchor herself or himself in Satya. There is a portion on leadership in Valmiki Ramayana. I conduct sessions on it, which are many things. And Andrita means lying, falsehood. Satya is truthfulness. Andrita has been named as the foremost of shortcomings or pitfalls of bad leaders. Nastikyam Andritam Krodham Pramadam Virda Sutratam. Like that, there is a bunch of 3 shlokas in Valmiki's Adi Kavya, where the older brother Ram advises the younger brother Bharat how to rule the kingdom. And very lovingly he says, "Dear Bharat, dear younger brother, as you take up this responsibility of ruling Ayodhya for 14 years, I hope you take care to avoid 14 pitfalls which generally many leaders are found to have. And one of them is lying. Avoid this, the word used there is Raja Dosha. For older days it was the time of Rajas. Today it is the time of either CEOs of companies or Prime Minister, Presidents and so on. So Raja Dosha is the shortcomings of bad leaders. First one is lying. For when one lies, one thinks one can get going, but it comes out. All said and done, in this world of ours, where everybody thinks he or she is smart and can hoodwink others, in due course of time, some power, some force brings everybody to book. Today, even in a corrupt country like ours, there are many big shots behind bars, including some fake gurus also who have gone behind, as recent events have shown to you. Nobody is spared. Shashikala in Tamil Nadu was a force to reckon, and everybody was so afraid. Next to Jayalalitha, people were ready to prostrate before her. But she is in a jail in Bengaluru, and I will not give more names. Truth has its own power. We think that we are smarter than the law of truth. But truth, as elsewhere they say, the long hand of law. Here I would adapt it. The long hand of truth grabs us if we try to play with it. Secondly, a tendency to neglect, a tendency to err, tendency to say, like we have in Hindi the expression, chalta hai. When I studied long ago in IIT Madras, I just did a 2-year course. I am not a full IITian in that sense, a 2-year tech program. I had the privilege of having a wonderful director at that time, Professor P.V. Indiresh. He was wonderful in his subject, wonderful in administration, wonderful in his conduct. It was much later that I found that he was also a columnist in newspapers. Maybe he picked it up later. And once in Times of India, I found an article many years later, not when I was in his institute. And it was said about this pramada, a negligent attitude. He wrote a short piece, and there was a lot of humor. I said, my God, this Professor Indiration can write like this also. And he gives in that 2 examples of a careless attitude. I believe in some place, some dhaba, there was a towel near wash basin. And one customer came and saw that the towel was foul smelling. It was so bad. Why don't you change this? He said. The dhaba owner said, sir, hundreds have been using it for all these days. No one has complained. What is your problem? He says, look at this. Second example he gives is, if somebody goes to buy some good, jaggery, a lot of monkey, flies are sitting upon it. The customer says, what is this? So many flies are on this jaggery. The shopkeeper says, how much can they eat? So that is called chalta hai attitude. In Hindi expression I was about to say, but it is chalta hai. How could you figure? If a leader has that kind of carelessness, tendency to err, tendency to neglect, what can happen to the organization? One of the pillars of ethical living is to be very alert. And the opposite of alertness is pramada. The Sanskrit word used is pramada. And thirdly, this is where religion, spirituality, etc. have a common ground with management and effective leadership. The third is about ill-placed or excessive attachment to pleasure. Pleasure has a place in life. Pleasure is part of life. But if wisdom traditions like Gita or Ramayana, etc., have anything against pleasure, it is always about the slavish attachment. I am sure all of you have heard the expression, duty before pleasure. If we are careful enough to do our duty, then go for pleasure, fine. But if pleasure comes first, and about duty, if you say, no, I will do it, and then maybe not do it at all, that is called the pursuit of pleasure. If a leader, if a head is attached to pursuit of pleasure to an extent, jeopardizing in the process her or his true priorities, then undoubtedly his leadership or her leadership will suffer. There is damage done to an organization. There is a story that in a certain village, small village, there was only a single doctor. And this doctor, first was very good, but slowly became more and more attached to comfort, pleasure. He had monopoly after all in the village and became more and more negligible, attached to pleasure and comfort. And he married. When he started, he was a bachelor, very well received, made almost a god in the village. But afterwards, he married, and that is when he became more and more attached to comfortable living. And one particular occasion, his wife had gone away to her parents' place, and this doctor was missing his wife, getting a bit bored in general. One day he pulls the shutter, closes his clinic at lunchtime. Normally he goes back. Afternoon he says, oh, who cares? Becomes negligent, and he is just resting. It was at that time that some villagers came running. Doctor, doctor, we need your help. Please come and rescue. We have a village lady drowning in the river nearby. He says, what? He doesn't even respond properly. And even when they pressed him, save the wife, save this lady, save this drowning lady, he just says, don't disturb me now, I'll come, hold on, wait, etc. And he delays so much. To make the long story short, and as some of you may have guessed it already, the lady drowning was no other than his own wife. She was to return a couple of days later, but out of some change of plan, she had taken a boat and was coming back to this village from her Maika, and the boat capsized. It was then that to his greatest shock and to his greatest sorrow, he realized what goes out comes back, what goes up comes down. Others and us are intimately related. We cannot have double standards. We cannot have one rule for the so-called our family and another for others. One rule for our community, another for another community, and so on. Therefore, while I would repeat, pleasure has a place in life, a leader gets enslaved to pleasure. My spiritual teacher, Swami Chidananda, used to use peculiar English. He used to say, you want to drink, you may drink, but let the bottle not drink you away. You want to smoke, smoke, but let the cigarette not smoke you away. You may have pleasure, but let the pleasure not have you. It's a bit unusual English, but what is meant is, are you the master, or have pleasures and comforts become the master? So, the building blocks, or let me say the cornerstones of ethical leadership are no different from the universal ethical principles. That is what brings me now straight away to the well-known word. While beginning my talk, I mentioned quickly the management guru, who now is no more, Stephen Covey. His book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is a wonderful book, and he draws from wisdom traditions of the world, from different sources. And when he talks of leadership in that book, 7 Habits, he uses the expression principle-centered leadership. When I read it, I said, this principle-centered life is no other than what we in India always call dharma-centered living, dharma-centered leadership too. In one of the shlokas in Mahabharata, Yudhishthira says that my family primarily is made of, truth is my mother, and ahimsa is my sister. He gives a bunch of values. They are my primary family. Then Draupadi or Bhima, Arjuna, those brothers, whatever, all of them, they are like an extended family. There is a shloka. So, dharma has been the key word, and how interesting that someone like Covey talks about principle-centered leadership. In fact, in a very picturesque way, he says, some of you have gone through that book, I'm sure, he says, in life, some people are seen to be highly money-centered. For them, everything is, afterwards. Money comes now. Some others, as we said already, are pleasure centered. First, on top of everything is enjoyment. Some others are friend centered. Some others are spouse centered. Wife or husband. In fact, he also adds, some people are enemy centered. That doesn't mean they adore the enemies. They are always thinking about what would my enemy do? What would my enemy think of it? What would the enemy is on top of their mind. He makes a circle and shows enemy centered, friend centered, money centered, pleasure centered, this centered, that centered. He says all of them lead to their own troubles. If you are dharma, he uses principle, PCL. If you are principle centered, your leadership would be the best. What is dharma in Indian tradition? The etymology, the way the word is derived, is dharana dharma or dharyate anena iti dharma. That which holds, that which supports is dharma. Individually, in the life of you and me, or collectively, as more applicable to organizations, what holds together, what supports is dharma, and if there is a violation of cardinal values, and cardinal values typically are said to be satya, dharma, satya, ahimsa, and brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is not to be taken in the limited sense of celibacy, as it may apply in some context. Brahmacharya is self-control. When you are the master of pleasure, you are brahmacharya. You may enjoy varieties of pleasures, but you are, as we explained before, not a गुलाम. जब तक आप विषय भोग के गुलाम नहीं है, आप डिसाइड करेंगे कब खाना है, कब पीना है, कब कुछ मजा करना है, and then accordingly you have a degree of control, and you are a brahmacharya, self-control. So truth, non-violence, and self-control. Truth is the topmost value, the very essence. An example given for essence is, in sugar, the essence is sweetness. If there were to be no sweetness in sugar, everything else, the granular texture, the white color, and some looks, etc. But suppose there is no sweetness, what sugar is? In that way, if there is no satya, you are gone. That is the fundamental value behind ethical leadership. Ahimsa, I am quoting once more Kovi, is about not hurting. You may be efficient, you may be effective, you may be talented. Sometimes some eminent people, as you surely know examples, are known for very rough behavior. Who was that? Steve Jobs. Which city said that nobody wanted to work with him. He insulted people openly sometimes. He would be so harsh. With hats off to his achievements, his innovation, or his bringing out products, iPhone, iPad, all those things, which became so popular in the world. As a human being, poor fellow, he was not much evolved. He was known for very snobbish behavior. He was a big failure in ahimsa. He hurt people. He could have done those things in a little graceful way. A friend of mine in Chicago attended a certain large meeting, some kind of general body meeting or something, where Steve Jobs takes the mic and then suddenly, maybe he did not plan to do it, he gets into a rage and he says to the stock shareholders, etc. Some vice president or somebody was there. I told him not to do this, and it was his error. It was such a big mistake. And then he cannot control his anger. Steve Jobs, on the spot, to the surprise of everybody, said, because he was the CEO, had the power, I fire you this moment. You are no more with us. Was it a place to do so? Even he was so angry. So, though he brought out innovations, and if you are looking at only from bottom line point of view, money, then you adore him. But that is not ethical leadership. That is not something to emulate in its wholeness. Partly his focus and his emphasis on quality we appreciate. Brahmacharya, as I said here, is in a way energy management, self-control, whether it is pleasure pursuit, whether it's the control of emotions. I used an expression, emotional blanket, or someone may wonder what that is. Shivakovi said, when you hurt anybody, spouse or colleague or team members, he used a metaphor. Your credit in the emotional bank account with that person becomes less and less. That person will not want to work anymore with you, will not trust you anymore, will not look at you with regard. The emotional bank account goes down and down. Whereas when you have the quality of ahimsa, even when you disagree with somebody, continually you improve upon your way of expressing it. You express in such a way that the other person, other guy, other lady, though basically doesn't like to be criticized, he deep inside acknowledges, well, it was nice of him to, nice of her to say it in a very graceful way, without mocking at me, without insulting me. So if you follow ahimsa, more and more of your followers, your team members will have more credit in their emotional bank account in your name, so to say. So that is the expression that he uses. Therefore, now, in a little summary way, rather than talking of more and more values, there are certain human values, and these have their own subtle operation, their own way of working into the whole functioning of yourself, your organization, and for long-standing results. In fact, that is also a concession in language. For true results, you need to go by ethical principles only. I just smiled when I said long-standing, because once I said to one lady who also had been a corporate leader, she and I were having a debate on these ethical aspects. And I, quoting from all these books of wisdom, I said to her, look, Amma, look, madam, in the long run, truth alone wins. I can never forget, she was known for a little outspoken language. She stared into my eyes and said, Swamiji, in the long run, we are all dead and gone. So, I hasten to add that it's not just in the long run, though invisible, though not recognized, when we violate the ethical principle, not just in the long run, right then, there is a damage. Many a time, like in that context of health, if you are violating principles of right living, the diagnosis may come 5 years later, 20 years later, but the damage to various organs, like a diabetic, goes on eating sweets, the damage takes place instantly. The diagnosis and some kind of symptoms, some kind of very visible expressions may take time. In that sense, we would say, very important it is for us to go by ethical principles, and the overall, the achievement is far more for us and for others too. Now to share a few thoughts. This is just one more slide. I don't have to elaborate. Wolf, everybody knows the story. Right. The fellow, in order to get some attention or fun sake, says, wolf. There was no wolf. The guy who was looking after some sheep. And when on a subsequent day, actually a wolf came and he yells, he screams at the loudest voice, nobody comes. And the second one, double standard, such a doctor's story explains that. The doctor thought, I need not care for some woman, every day so many women die, I care. When it was his own wife, he understood. This division, others and I, and making some kind of discrimination is so wrong. A few thoughts on transformation. Spirituality would talk about transformation on two levels. The deepest and the highest transformation, in a passing manner let me mention, is when you change radically, you are totally free of selfishness. You are so transformed, like they say, those are great heights, very hard for any of us to reach. You live for others. You live for serving others. Let's not go to that high level of transformation where you become a tool, where you become an instrument in God's hands and all those things which are not false but which need much more work to be done on ourselves. But I am going to present a few thoughts on transformation, then open the floor for some questions. Transformation can be like the words in bracket in the first bullet go. Somebody says, I won't act, I can't decide, let somebody else do. I won't put the foot forward, etc. From that kind of being laid back, from that kind of being held back, or being lacking in confidence, etc., one says, I will do. Now, I will do as guided by you is a translation of the Gita expression. In the second chapter, 9th verse, Arjuna puts his bow down and says to Sri Krishna, if you want to use an expression on his face, I am not going to fight. Do anything you like. मुझसे ये नहीं होगा, कुछ भी करो, अपन चला जाएगा. न योत्से, न योत्से in Sanskrit means न युद्धम न करिष्ये. I am not going to fight. It was his duty. A soldier having taken salary for 20 years, when the country is in war with another country, the soldier says, you know what? Last week I read a beautiful book on non-violence. I am having second thoughts. You can't do that. You have been a soldier for all these years. You have always talked about justice. It's not about killing, it's not about violence. It is about protecting justice. And above all, it is about going by the contract that you had signed. So Arjuna was making a fool of himself. And through the teachings of Sri Krishna, in the 18th chapter towards the end, he says, Nashto moha smritir labdha karishye vachanam tava. My confusions are gone, and I now remember what my true calling is, and oh dear Krishna, I will do as you say. This is transformation. This transformation in the philosophical language of Indian wisdom tradition requires, as the second bullet goes, conquering the tamas in us. Tamas is inertia. And not just tamas, you have to rise above rajas. Rajas is aggressive action. You start acting, but in the process, you may hurt people, you may step on others' toes, you may, while attacking some enemies, kill one out of your family members also. Rajoguna is supposed to have its own problems. The word used is therefore sattva, go above tamas and rajas. Now, a verse in context is, you have 26th verse of 18th chapter in Gita. It uses some expressions of the transformed state of consciousness. After all of us operate through our mind. Sometimes you find somebody 6 foot up, well built, but he is so cowardly. And somebody else may be short, lean, slim, and not impress you at all, but has great courage. So the difference is not in bodily looks, but in mental makeup. One step more, we even use the word, the state of consciousness. The state of consciousness marked by a transformed inner being is described. Mukta Sangaha Anaham Vadi Dhrati Utsaha Samanvita. Dhrati is not giving up easily. Utsaha is sometimes you may not give up, but you drag on with a long face. Utsaha is not that way. Cheerful. Though you have met with many obstacles, move ahead cheerful. And Siddhya Siddhyo Nirvikara, this shloka says. As sometimes success comes to you, sometimes you fail. If you can maintain a high degree of equanimity, that makes you a transformed person. Good old days, when you were in the grip of tamas, you hardly were acting. Most of the time postponing. Then came a stage where you are acting, you are working, you are getting going, but hurting people, a little good here, but a little bad there and so on. But the highest consciousness, transformed consciousness, is where you are so insightful, so thoughtful. You do justice to all the stakeholders, not just partially. That is how a transformed consciousness is described in the wisdom traditions of our country. And generally, what prevents transformation is memories of the past. If we have failed before or if we were insulted before, it has left behind a hurt in us. Like the third bullet says, we carry a baggage of hurt and pride. Then we lack the suppleness, we lack the objectivity, anxiety about future. Dr. Radhakrishnan knows, Swami Chidananda used to always emphasize memories of the past, anxiety of future, and would describe dramatically how the human mind gets shrunk if we allow these two to come and interfere. If we see a task in front of us and just see what is to be done, let's get going. Without being disturbed by the past or future, we become much more efficient, much more transformed people. And all this is about inner cleansing. The tragedy of today's world is more and more people know a lot about machines, but they don't know how to work on themselves. People are increasingly becoming poor in self-development or in ending of the self-interest. Self-interest overpowers them. That is that part. Without bamboozling you with more and more material, I conclude my presentation with sharing how in the Gita there is an appeal. Everyone should lift oneself by oneself. Uddhare Atmana Atman. Don't look for the government to come with a new plan. Don't come look for the surroundings, somebody else. Do your part, then the rest of things will fall in place. In another place again Gita says, when you have clearly decided what is the right way, Nishchayena Yoktavya. With all determination you must go, and Anirvinna Chetasa, without allowing the mind to get depressed and so on. The last sloka of the Gita says, you must have spirituality symbolized by Krishna, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, and professional skills, domain knowledge, etc., represented by Partha Arjuna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruva Niti Mathirvama is the last sloka. There will be the highest good to the entire society, to everybody in the organization that you are reading. You should combine ethical values or spiritual excellence with domain knowledge, professional skills. Here are some thoughts at random way speaking. I am once more thankful to all of you in this afternoon hour for giving me rapt attention. Please feel free to make any critical comments or ask any questions. Thank you, Dr. Pillai.
Questions? Yeah, questions.
Mr. Joshi's introduction earlier.
Yes.
She mentioned about I've been in the West, I studied there, I lived there, and I enjoyed the benefits of the right-based living. And now I'm here. So, we said that a duty-based leadership or the right-based leadership, there are two different kinds. India is duty-based, US is right-based. So, my point is this: today, when I drove 20 miles to come here, my rights were violated at least 25 times by different cars. Right? Let's not go to personal examples, I can go to other examples. But in UP, a train accident happened, 35 people died, and it turned out that the engine guy was not informed about the repair that was going on. Somebody forgot to follow the perform the duty. But the rights of 75, 80 or maybe 100 kids, family members were violated. So if you look at everything society from the duty perspective, they're looking from the top order. Somebody failed to perform their duties, so negligence of duty, excuses, whatnot. Look at from the victim, looking from my point of view, the rights, my rights were violated. And that's it, somebody needs to be held accountable. Same way, if a political leader commits pramada, what Swami mentioned, pramada, there is neglect of duty. Right? So if a political leader commits pramada, he neglected, failed, what not. But if you look at from my perspective, my rights were violated and he should be held accountable. So, being the beneficiary of the right-based society, I would like to see India to be a right-based society. Nobody should violate anybody's rights. Today when we leave for our home, just mark the number of times somebody is violating your rights, not doing their duty. So I focus if they are not doing their duty. Why not focus on my rights? Somebody is honking behind me, is violating the rights of somebody. So I'm sorry, but this is what different thoughts.
With your ma'am, because madam spoke about this, you want both of them to address?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Thank you very much for raising this question. I'm not saying that we have to go to any extreme as such. But since you have raised this point, you may think about it. We all agree that being completely duty-centric is pendulum going to one extreme. You know, our constitution recognizes our rights. And violation of any rights, we can go to the court of law, get compensation or whatever it is. But the duties are not enforced by the constitution. Duties are a part of only directive principles, which we cannot go to the court of law. This is the imbalance. When I said that our perspective was duty-centric, I don't mean to say that present society of ours is behaving in a duty-centric way. My whole point is, we are not taking our legacy seriously. And last point which I mentioned is that we should have a balanced approach, because this is also emphasized in the Indian legacy. Whether it was taught in Bhagavad Gita or Gautam Buddha or Mahavira or Upanishads or later thinkers of the 19th century like Justice Mahadev Govinda Rande, who himself worked as a High Court judge. But look at the present scenario. We all want the freedom which is protected by the constitution. Where is the responsibility along with the freedom? Do you think that we behave responsibly? You know, that requires a lot of training which the Western world has undergone, and they are using their freedom with responsibility. We are using our freedom which is given to us by constitution. Look at the press, media. and the way they are using their freedom. But there is no control of constitution creating that balance. My whole point was, we have already borrowed from West, and I am not saying that that is wrong. Individualism has to be there. Individual is to be respected. It will be a long thing. I'll explain to you that how individualism also was recognized in the Indian legacy. That is not the point I argue about. My whole point is that creating the balance, we should have both the right centricity and the duty centricity. Our constitution has given us the right centric approach because our constitution is more or less based on wisdom from Britain. And duties, we have only included in the directive principles. If people in the government offices are not working, we can't do anything. Are we really trying to protect our rights by, rights can be protected when somebody will do the duties. Rights cannot exist in vacuum. Rights and duties go hand in hand. Suppose everyone is asking only of everyone's right, not doing the duties. It will be one extreme. But here in India, there was another extreme where everyone was doing only one's duties, where the rights of theirs were taken care of. I won't say that this society was free from exploitation. My whole point is that the way we lived is different. Now that the legacy also has not reached us, we have to keep balancing between these approaches. Look at the models which exist in the leadership domain. If they also are models focusing on one of these aspects and not balancing, is our leadership hedonistic? Ask this question. Hedonistic? Duty-centric? What are they thinking about when they are leading? I have already, many occasions have had conversation with my students. We have to think about it. Are we Hippocratic? Then why are we Hippocratic? The type of philosophy we are adopting? We have to think about the philosophy and the philosophy of balance. I think you missed that point. I made this point saying that the philosophical legacy of East and the philosophical legacy of West is different. But I never claimed that therefore East is superior and West is inferior. That was not my point. I never said that I am speaking from a patriotic standpoint. I only said that there should be a balance between which India can provide, because India has seen the advantages and the disadvantages of both the right centricity and the duty centricity. My students are well aware of it because I've been talking to them every now and then. This is the lacuna in the domain of field of knowledge. So if we are able to provide a better alternative in terms of a balanced model, that will be a great thing. Nobody will say that right centricity is wrong. But equally important is duty centricity. And we in our country are well aware of our rights, but we keep forgetting about our duties. So we are to be told again that this is how our ancestors lived. And if rights are already protected by the Constitution, please take care that we also keep doing our duties. Parents going to the court of law, for what? Children are not taking care of them. And they have to establish legally their claim that they should be really taken care of. Or otherwise, and then the legal procedure. There are so many examples. My whole approach is that we should think about it. We should be original people. Now, being original doesn't mean again imitating the past. If I am against imitating West, I am equally against imitating the I never said it in my lecture ever. You ask my students. I only said that think, and think. And I said we should always think about a balancing approach which only will give us a peace. And that balancing approach India has given to the world. Abhyudaya Nishreyasa Dharma Siddhi. You ask Swamiji. He is using the word dharma. He doesn't say remain in poverty. But he doesn't say be arrogant with your affluence. It always says material prosperity with ethical value based, and that is dharma siddhi. That is the balanced approach. So duty centricity and right centricity, both are required. And that is why the whole of 19th century churning, whether it was in Bengal, whether it was in Maharashtra, whether it was written in Marathi or in English or in Bengali, the whole debate was centered around how to create the new culture and civilization of India, with East and West combined. What has happened after independence is we all of a sudden have given up the habit of thinking, original contribution, writing. We go very popularly. बाबा राम रहीम के ऊपर कितना डिस्कशन करेंगे. So many channels, weeks and weeks. Isn't there any other issue? Both the philosophical and the principle-based approach of the problem. Think about it. ये क्यों होता है? As he said, principle is very important. Think principle. Stephen Covey said, no, think on the principles. Instances will be many, but who is going to think about that? What is the thought behind this? You only have to think about it, but we don't do it because we be, अरे हमारा तो चल रहा है ना, बाबा राम रहीम पे जो होना है. Very few articles in the media analyze the situation. My whole point is, this is not the glorification of the past. This is not the patriotic appeal to the students. This is purely academic, position placed. Unfortunately, what has happened in our country is that anything we say about the past, we start thinking that the person has become nostalgic. It's not the case. You have to think about academically about it. But I'm very happy that you raised this question. So, at least I could put it clearly. Maybe I was not clear when I put my point. Thank you very much.
You answered the question already.
I just want to say one sentence that the present Indian society we don't claim is duty centered. Our legacy, our wisdom tradition has emphasized. We need to go by it. We are not claiming that today's society is so duty centered. And she clarified that as part of her answer.
Students?
So there was a celebrated slogan by a great American president, John F. Kennedy, who combined duty and right when he said that ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for the country.
Well said.
So what you can do for the country is clearly duty. So that was, even they feel so.
Any questions from other students? Yeah. Yeah, please.
Swamiji, you have been in corporate and now you are into spirituality.
Yeah.
So, what difference you find in, let's say, corporate life and the principles which we are advocating? Especially, is there a difference between how multinationals work in India and how Indian corporates operate? Do you find any difference, or still it's a profit-oriented goal?
Profit orientation. First of all, I gave up to the corporate life Mumbai. So 1989, which means 28 years, I have been into only spirituality. Except visiting, I periodically speak on corporate platforms. But I myself was part of the corporate world before 89. So with my exposure in the last 27 years, 28 years to corporate world, US or here, in the form of some guest lectures, I go meet and so on. Let me take up your question. Is it profit oriented? The bottom line, wanting more profit is a universal urge, both in the West and in the East. And as it was touched upon earlier also, Indian corporate life to a large extent follows Western world. So there is the profit motive everywhere. But the good news is percentage. A small percentage of executives or senior corporate people have always shown interest in ethics, in being better human beings and so on. In fact, nowadays it has become fashionable also. I myself, some years ago, was the speaker on the very first day of the executive summit of Microsoft India. We were here only in Mumbai. It was held in Hawaii, in essence. So they have, I several times went to a company called Mastek. They have a 5 days, 3 days international customers meet. But they do have a couple of lectures by people like me on values, on ethics, on becoming better human beings. And they have 20 sessions on bottom line. How they are doing in Far East, how they are doing in Europe, how the business is prospering in the West, etc. So we must look at it sympathetically. For the bottom line is driving everything. But a good percentage are showing interest, both abroad and here.
What are your views on corporatization of spirituality?
Very well, good question. Corporatization of spirituality. Somebody had written a book long back, Piercing Through Spiritual Materialism. He used the word that way, spiritual materialism. So it is an expression of the baser tendencies which are not easy to get rid of. So my view is this corporatization of spirituality is going to happen. Because in the earlier answer also I said, being concerned with profit is a human tendency wherever you are. Even if you are in ashrams, a larger number of people in ashram after some time will be again, coming under that urge. The urge cannot disappear just because you read some Gita or Bible, Quran or Dhammapada. It raises its head again and again. And then the gurus will blame the followers. I was a saint person, my followers blame the followers will blame the gurus. So let us look at it sympathetically as a human weakness which shows up. But we have to keep learning. It's not a good thing, corporatization. Yesterday I was asking when Christianity they have, the priests are supposed to take a vow of poverty. There are some 3, 4, 5, 6 vows and they become padris. One of them is, I have remained poor. But it is not followed. Some of the, especially in the West, some of those evangelists, they have their own private jets, they have their own huge properties, like a resort where 200 people can go and do more masti. But this priest owns it, single priest, evangelist, whose Sunday program comes on 36 channels or 36 countries simultaneously. And they go on the stage, like crazy people. Bible says, and the way they talk, is he on war or something? But that is how they hold thousands of people in the grid. And they sometimes claim supernatural powers and so on. It's a sad thing. It doesn't become true spirituality. True spirituality, the person has to keep away from that extravagance, and if not, one should keep away from extravagance. One may for pure functional convenience, one may use certain modern technology. One may fly, one may use some gadgets. But profit should not become the mean. It's wrong. My view is it's wrong.
Swami, you spoke about principle-centered leadership, and we talk about value-based leadership. Spoke about principle-based leadership, and we hear people talking about value-based leadership also. Could you differentiate between them?
Oh. This question is there a difference between value-based leadership and principle-centered leadership? Hardly. This is a choice or a preference of authors. Shivan Kavi preferred the word principle. Some others may prefer the word value. They are pretty much the same.
Values could be, it can change from a person to person, from what I understand.
Principles also change.
Principles, from what I understand, stand the test of time. So
Values also do. So it depends on how you look at them. Both these words have certain flexibility. My values could be different from his values, from her values. In the same way, somebody's principles are different from somebody else's principles. All I would say is becomes a bit of a language issue. The words have their own flavor, and the words themselves mean different things to different people. Because all of us have our associations. If you use a word like principle, somebody with a certain background would associate some meaning. Somebody else, so it becomes a linguistic issue, language issue. I think broadly they are saying this here. I use the word dharma center to say.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, ma'am, for this enlightening discussion, also followed by the lecture of Swamiji on leadership. For the batch 1, which is now MA Part 2, Swamiji just told they have done so much discussions with so many experts, more than 150 lectures. And the best part is that it's all recorded, and most of them are available on YouTube. We have a channel called as Emerging Leaders, Mumbai University. So this is something that we've been doing, and we have a lot of experts, nationally, internationally.
What channel? YouTube channel?
YouTube channel. It's called Emerging Leaders, MALS. MA is the degree they get, LS is Leadership Science of Mumbai University. So it's so nice that students have taken the effort, and the way they have worked on various projects about leadership in various aspects. Finally, it comes to the first lecture that we always go back and say, what is the foundation? I remember ma'am and our vice chancellor taking the first lecture for the first batch. And that was one of the things suggested was the book called Good to Great with Jim Collins. And this year we have taken a discussion on another book by the same author called as Built to Last. So if you look at all this, finally it comes to the principles which are surviving the test of time. You may call it values, you may call it, in other words, maybe vision of the organization, etc. etc. So it was so nice for us to get your perspectives from the Indian management perspective and Indian management dimension. So we are going to definitely use this also as a subject of our academic research. So we look forward for more such interactions. As the program gets ended, we have 2 announcements. Number one, the MA Part 2 students, the seniors, continue to be in this particular classroom. We have a lecture for you at 2:30. For the new students, which is Part 1, you'll have to meet us at 2:30 in the same classroom where you're sitting on the ground floor. So we'll be continuing some discussions about the program, the course syllabus, etc. with you. while the other batch continues. Till then, we have lunch. It's in the adjacent room. So I request all of you, including our guests, all of our new students and old students, to kindly join us for lunch. And we will be back at 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you.